When you look at all the other elements of how much violence is spiking here already in the last couple of months, and you add all that, there's a real, I'm going to call it a possibility. But I think some people are thinking it's a probability of a Temple Mount explosion and an explosion of violence all through, and not just head-to-head, face-to-face. Are we heading for a Temple Mount explosion? I hope not. Let's pray the answer is no. Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg with a YouTube exclusive for the Rosenberg Report. Look, we've seen Palestinian violence spiking over the last 2 months or so. We're really seeing many attacks by Palestinians, mostly on the West Bank, some here in Jerusalem and nearby, and Israeli security forces are on a heightened alert, and we're seeing clashes back and forth. The problem is that we're heading towards a period where all three monotheistic religions have their holy days. I'm going to get into the specifics of that in a moment, but the convergence of Ramadan, Passover, and Easter have many people here worried that violence is going to spike even more, that out of religious fervor, we're going to see a real explosion. Now, just in recent days, King Abdullah II of Jordan, the King of Jordan, who I've gotten to know and spent quite a bit of time with over the years, as I write about in my book, Enemies and Allies, he has been particularly sounding the alarm. He's saying, look, there's so much tension already, and now you've got the Israeli right-wing government making lots of provocative statements and even moves, talking about building another 9,300 settlement apartments in what Israelis consider Judea and Samaria, the biblical heartland, what Palestinians and others call the West Bank or the Palestinian Authority. So there's tension over that. That's just one of many issues. The king is particularly concerned, and he called for a gathering of Israeli and Palestinian and Jordanian officials in Aqaba just a couple of days ago, the southern port city in the Kingdom of Jordan, right next to the Israeli port city along the Red Sea, known as Eilat, okay? And officials there gathered and spent some time talking about their concerns, and looking at the various intelligence readouts and how can we take steps to dial down the temperature. Particularly the concern that there'll be huge clashes on the Temple Mount, what Jews and Christians call the Temple Mount, right over my shoulder, where that gold dome stands. That's the Dome of the Rock. The black dome is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, known as the mosque in the corner, and those are the third holiest sites in Islam for Muslims, 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide. So they consider that spot holy to them. But of course, Jews call it the Temple Mount, right? That's where the first temple stood that Solomon built. And it's where the second temple stood when they, rebuilt it after the destruction and the exile. And that's where Christians and Jews believe that the third temple will be built in the prophetic eschatological future. So, a super important site, but also the site of lots of clashes over the years. And could we see a Temple Mount explosion again? Could it happen soon? Look, let me walk you through the calendar that's coming up that shows how overlapped the major holidays are, religious holidays for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And you'll see why there's so much concern that a major explosion could happen during this period, and why we need to pray that it doesn't. Okay, let's begin with Ramadan. Ramadan is the month-long period of fasting where Muslims are not allowed to eat or drink anything from sunup to sundown. Now, after sundown, they tend to have big parties. And, I don't want, some people would say gorge themselves, but, just eat and have a sort of a party, thinking, okay, that was a hard day, and now we get to eat and drink. And then when they wake up again, it all starts all over for a month, right? So imagine in a time of heat and political tension and religious tension, particularly young men not eating, not drinking for 30 days during the daytime, how would you feel, right? So this is a religious festival, and Ramadan starts on Thursday, March 23rd, okay? Thursday, March 23rd, that's when Ramadan starts. Now, Holy Week for Christians starts on Sunday, April 2nd, with Palm Sunday. Okay, so the 23rd, then you got the Christians celebrating starting with Palm Sunday on April 2nd. Now, Passover, one of the highest holidays in the Jewish calendar, that begins on Wednesday, April 5th. Okay, now, Easter Sunday is then on April 9th, according to the Gregorian calendar. So most Christians in the West and the Far East celebrate Easter Sunday on April 9th. Passover, which is a week-long celebration, that ends on Thursday, April 13th. Now, Orthodox Easter, Easter is celebrated by Orthodox Christians, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, other Syrian Orthodox and others. Orthodox Easter is on Sunday, April 16th, and that's according to the Julian calendar. Now, Ramadan ends on Thursday, April 20th. Okay, Thursday, April 20th. That's the end of Ramadan, and there are huge festivals then, including the next big Muslim holiday is Eid al-Fitr, which is celebrated on Friday, April 1st. In the midst of all that, Israel will celebrate its 75th anniversary of its miraculous prophetic rebirth, which will have a huge political challenge to Muslims generally and Palestinians particularly. And oh, by the way, in case you're curious, my birthday is on Monday, April 17th. So if you're sending any presents or you want to send cards or gifts, that's fine. Just contact TBN. So let's hope that doesn't become an extra added problem. But the point here, I hope you'll see, is the overlapping of all these holidays means people's religious fervor will be at a maximum. And for Muslims, you got 30 days of people not eating during the daytime, not drinking a sip of water if they're religious. So when you look at all the other elements of how much violence is spiking here already in the last couple of months, and you add all that, there's a real, I'm going to call it a possibility. But I think some people are thinking it's a probability of a Temple Mount explosion and an explosion of violence all through. And not just head-to-head, face-to-face, the potential of missiles and rockets being fired from Gaza, or could it even go even worse than that? That's why we need to be praying. We need to be praying for the peace of Jerusalem every day, the peace of Jerusalem spiritually, but also geopolitically, that we don't, I'm telling you, from Jerusalem, none of us want to see this type of violence. But all of it could be happening over the next month or so. So keep yourselves tuned to the Rosenberg Report. Keep watching and tracking with all Israel news and all Arab news, because we're tracking this day by day. So keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem, spiritually, of course, but geopolitically as well, as we head into this season, which should be of religious reverence, of focus on God, not focus on political violence. But it could happen, so let's pray it does not. This is Joel Rosenberg for the Rosenberg Report with a YouTube exclusive right here in Jerusalem. God bless you.